Hey everyone, welcome to Tice's Tech Track episode 2. So this is the second episode in my brand new podcast series called Tice's Tech Track. And I'm very excited to be kicking off this second episode. I hope you liked the first episode, by the way. I think it came out pretty well. It was a bit of like jumping from topic to topic with regards to AI. But I think it went pretty well. I edited after the fact, and the sound was amazing. The picture wasn't bad. I mean, of course, it can be better, but it wasn't terrible. So, and of course, it's mostly going to be a podcast, meaning that video is not the most important. I mean, I think that's the cool thing about podcasts, and that's what I've noticed a lot over the past couple of years that I've been listening to podcasts. As well as some audiobooks as well. I've been kind of like into that as well. You can just basically do it from anywhere. It's very quote unquote lightweight. Like you don't have to have a lot of different, you don't have to sit down and actually like watch something and make sure that you also have audio, which, for a lot of YouTube videos is the case. And that's, I think, also why YouTube Shorts and things like TikTok also have a lot of text on screen. Because you might be swiping in a subway and you don't have your AirPods or your earphones in, and you still want to enjoy certain TikToks. And I think that's pretty smart, right? Like you want to make it as accessible as possible. And I think that these podcasts are also pretty accessible. So that's cool stuff. So for the second episode, let's just sort of jump right into it. I want to talk about AI again. So I kind of want to finish off the bits that I didn't get to in the last podcast episode. And if there's any time left, because I do want to keep these bite-sized, I want to keep them 15 to 20 minutes max. I know the last one went a little bit over that time, but I want to keep them bite-sized. So for this episode... we're first going to be talking about AI. If we have time left, and I want to pitch the project that I'm currently working on, and I started working on this last week. So that's pretty exciting. I'm really looking forward to sharing more about this application that I'm probably going to devote the next months towards. It totally depends on if this thing is going to take off at all. But I'll share the details a bit more later on. So anyways, let's get back to the topic of AI. It's been a week for me as well. So, it's been a week for me recording this second episode of the podcast, but it's not been a week for you because I've made a few more plans to sort of kick off this new channel. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pre-record 5 episodes of this podcast, and then I'm going to release them in a burst. So it's going to be like one a day for 5 days, and then they're going to go on a weekly schedule, sort of with my weekly schedule. But I do want to have some preparations before I'm going to set this all up. I mean, I don't even have like a logo or kind of like a brand. Like I just only thought of the name. And for the rest, I just started recording because I really want to document this new journey in my life, which is going to be building businesses online with the help of tech and everything like that. So as we currently stand, I don't even have a logo yet or anything. I don't even have a YouTube channel. I should actually open that first because I do think that I'm going to upload these podcasts on YouTube. They're also going to be on my Patreon page, which I've neglected for a long period of time. And I think later on I might also look at things like Spotify, but I don't think I'm going to look at that right away. Maybe I might. Let's sort of see how things go. But I'm very unfamiliar with any of those platforms, mostly familiar with YouTube, of course. Anyhow, let's get into AI again. So for this last bit about AI that I want to talk about is basically more of like the techie things that I've been doing with AI, and one of those things is I've basically built some sample applications with AI. So as we talked about last time, AI is pretty amazing. You can use it for a lot of different things. But one of the things that you probably notice pretty quickly with things like ChatGPT is that ChatGPT knows a lot, right? Like it knows about a lot of things. But the problem is that it doesn't have like a specific context. You can give it a bit of context, like by saying like I have this article, and you can ask a bit of questions about that. But what if, for example, you want to ask a question about a specific book? And another very important thing, you want to make sure that the information that ChatGPT gives to you comes from this book. Because, ChatGPT is trained on whatever is on the internet. So this can be reviews about this book, if it's a famous book, of course, like otherwise you might not even know about it. Or if it came out very recently, then it also doesn't know about it, right? So these are kind of like the problems that have been coming up. I kind of started to like delve into a few of the projects that people make with ChatGPT, because you can use ChatGPT standalone, of course, but you can also use its API. So if you don't know what an API is, it's basically a way to access ChatGPT like in your own application. So you can build your own version of ChatGPT. That was really funny. I learned about this right at the time that custom GPTs came out. And so basically now you can, without the use of any code, you can create a GPT, but then with like some custom functionality. But yeah, this is like a different topic, I think. I delved a little bit into like what custom GPTs are. I think on the one hand they're great, but on the other hand they're only for the paid people using ChatGPT, like premium. So I don't know. I don't know what the reach of those is going to be, but it's looking pretty promising so far. So anyways, we got this problem of custom context, not really accessible. Another huge problem is sourcing. You don't know where the information comes from that ChatGPT gives you. Like you just have no idea, because like the way that like these LLMs, large language models work is they are trained on huge amounts of data. And so what happens is they basically, all they do is they predict the next piece of text, which usually is less than a word. It's like a token, they call it. And it's usually about like 3 letters or something like that, or 3 characters, because it also includes spaces. So that's all it does. Like it just predicts on whatever the huge amount of text that it has learned beforehand. It's going to predict what this next one token is going to be. So you have no idea where this token comes from, because it could be like and it has probably seen the many, many thousands of times. But, so you can't really point to a location where this specific thing comes from. So I guess those are like the 2 main issues with, using a large language model, is that it doesn't really know any custom context, or you cannot really bring your own information. And secondly is sourcing from the information, like you just don't know where it comes from. It's funny because I basically am explaining this issue sort of in the same way that I did for my colleagues just 2 days ago. I made a little presentation about custom context in AI and that sort of stuff. So anyways, started delving a little bit into how you can create applications that have custom context. And one of the applications that I created is a YouTube Q&A application. So the way this works is you can bring your own information, which in this case is bring your own YouTube video. And then it's going to pull that data. And what it's going to do is it's basically going to put this data in a vector database. Sounds very difficult. Not really that difficult. If you know what a database is, which is a way to store and retrieve data persistently, so you can store data for a longer period of time and then retrieve it again later. A vector database is basically this, but then for AI. So basically, you're going to store this information. In my case, it was like a YouTube video. You're going to store this information in a vector database. And then when you ask a question, then this question is not going to go to the LLM first. So it's not going to generate the next token just yet. Before that, it's going to go to this vector database and it's going to get associated information from this query. And the way that it does it is a bit strange. Like it basically, or the way it stores this information, first of all, is through embedding. So it's going to have like a number representation, or like kind of like a array of numbers representation of the actual text. So that's something that machines can sort of read, or this AI machine can read. And then it's going to do the same for your question later on. So you're going to ask the question, it's going to go to the vector database. It's going to create like a number string array from your query or your question. And then it's going to get associated data back from the database. And after that, it's actually pretty simple, because then it retrieves this data. It's sort of going to concatenate it together into some kind of like text. And then it's going to send the question with this custom context to the LLM. And it's going to do that in a very like manual way. So you're just going to say like, all right, we've got this question. And then you're going to put in, your question. And then answer the question based on the following context, basically. that's how this works in code. And so I thought it was actually a pretty cool idea, because it works really well. Like, you have like a YouTube video, it can be like any video. It doesn't even need like a transcript, because like YouTube auto generates these transcripts, like the text, like the captions basically. They have them auto generated. They're not always accurate, but what I found is that like mostly they're accurate enough for some global questions about a certain video to be answered correctly. So I did this with, for example, my own video, like what's next for TravelingTice on my other YouTube channel. And what I found out is that it was pretty accurate in answering, like, for example, where is Tice located now? And I somewhere mentioned in the transcript or in the video that I am in Taiwan, and it answered me that pretty promptly. So I thought that was pretty cool. Like, you can basically create your own custom ChatGPT applications. Of course, like, there's many more things you can do with this, but I thought that this one was pretty cool. I learned a lot about like how these vector databases work, and also there's this tool called LangChain, which is basically a way that you can chain all of these different steps together in your own little application. And there's like this a large world of like these custom AI applications that you can build these days. So that's very exciting, and I definitely want to do more with it as we go along. I'm not really sure how I'm going to implement this in my next application. I'm using it myself a lot to, solve bugs or develop parts of this application that I'm building, but I'm not building like something in it. One of the main drawbacks being that if you use the API from ChatGPT, so you basically want to integrate ChatGPT into like ChatGPT's answers and the way that like that works into your own applications, you got to pay for basically like the amount of text that is being generated. Like you pay per token, or you pay per input token and also per output token. It's not a lot. Like I played around with this for like a week, and I don't know, like it's been like 20 cents or something like that. But if you're going to create an application then that maybe like a lot of people are going to use, then you might be paying quite a bit. Luckily, they're very good at like capping your usage. So if you're going over the usage, like you can set like a limit, like an upper limit. So I set my limit to like, I don't know, $25. So I will never go over that limit, which is a great thing. But you got to be careful with that. Or you got to have people submit their own API key. So that means that they'll be using their own usage on their own ChatGPT account rather than yours. But that's a bit of like a technical barrier for a lot of people to jump over, to go into their own like ChatGPT account and find this key and everything like that, So I don't know what, But I mean, the other thing you can do is you can create your own LLM, which I also tried. So I created like my own version of ChatGPT, but that was a bit of a failure. I spent like 6 hours on the tutorial from Free Code Camp. I can actually link that tutorial in the description. It's a 6-hour tutorial. The guy that's doing it is actually quite funny. Like, I don't know, like he doesn't really look like a developer or a nerd at all, but like the things that he's explaining is like these mathematics equations and all of that sort of stuff. It's a lot of quote unquote nerdy things, But no, he's actually a very cool guy. Like, that was able to sort of do it. He's a bit chaotic at times. Like, he jumps from his Windows computer then back to his Mac computer, and it's a bit hard to follow. But it was definitely interesting to do and to sort of learn about how these, like how ChatGPT works and how these LLMs work in general. The result was not great because I made it according to, the 6-hour tutorial. But of course, with AI, once you made it, you have to train it, right? Because it's only going to work if you train it on a lot of data. So I downloaded this like, what do you call it? Like a text corpus of like, I don't know, like a couple gigabytes of text to basically train my own AI on. But what I found out is that my laptop just cannot handle it. Like, I even let it run overnight, but at some point it just went into this like infinite loop, and it just didn't work. Like, I think like the GPU or the CPU was just maxed out at some point, and yeah, that was a bit of a shame. Like, I could only let it spit out like just random characters, and that included Chinese characters because like these texts had like probably a lot of languages in them as well. So there was just like random garbage coming through. Which was not great, but still, like, I think it wasn't necessarily about the result, of course, because I knew that you cannot create ChatGPT in just 6 hours. Like, that probably took a long time, a lot longer to create than just those 6 hours. But yeah, I thought that was quite funny. Anyway, yeah, I'm trying to learn like how to work with these podcasts and like kind of time it, because I also just checked on my phone like how long I'm already talking, and it's already been 16 minutes. So it's yeah, like I'm still sort of like searching on like what kind of topics to talk about, and maybe also like a little bit of the expectation of like how long I'm going to be talking about something. But I think that's going to smoothen out over a little period of time. So yeah, just gotta do like a bunch of these podcasts and just get like a bit of just get in the groove, like just get some interesting topics to talk about, and sort of learn as we go. I think is the most important thing here, because I don't really have a lot of expectations for these podcasts, like in terms of viewership or something like that. I just want to do them because I want to document my journey. I want to sort of talk about the things that I learn about these days, and I think that this is a great way to do it, just once a week. And yeah, I think that's a really cool thing. So lastly, in this podcast, what I want to sort of touch on is what I've been doing in the past week, I think, which has been I've been starting up my my old application. Well, it's not really that old. It's about 2 years old now. I developed this application in May 2021, and currently it's November 2023. So it's more than 2 years, 2.5 years, almost, give or take. But yeah, it's a map editor. Actually, we can talk about the history of this application in another episode, like where it came from and everything like that. But I basically made it for a friend called Matt Gallet, Chayo Nation. I don't know if he's watching, probably not. But if he is, then hey Matt, nice to see you here. I hope you're doing well, because he hasn't been uploading a lot of videos lately. But yeah, he was traveling around the world, and he had this like interactive Google Maps map on his website with like these different dots of places that he has been, and also the place that he wants to go. And he's got this thing like custom made by someone, and it was a bit slow, and I think I was upgrading his website like at some point. Like that's how I got into contact with him, because I wanted to get experience building websites. So I actually built his website anew, or made like a bunch of performance boosts on it. I don't know, but basically made his website again. And then I hit this tour map, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, I basically made that thing from scratch again. Like I learned about how the Google Maps API works and all that sort of stuff. So I started with this map for him. Then I wanted to create an editor for it, so that like it was easier for him to edit, because right now he had to like dig into the JSON file to sort of get all of this like information, and the file was just stored on his server. So it just wasn't so nice. So then I created this application, like version 1, which was very bad. Like I just at this time I was really like learning about a lot of things, so I was making a lot of mistakes. But I think it was still neat to sort of create this semi-working application. And then indeed in 2021, at this time I already had my my full-time job, so I already had some like professional experience. Like I knew how things sort of worked in the real world, and that really helped me a lot by making this new version of the application, which to this day I think I really like it. It's called Map My Tours. I'll of course link it in the description below. Mapmytours.app. It's open for use. You can use it right now, and please do use it right now, because soon I'm going to make some of these features that are currently under restricted, like a bit of a payment wall behind it. I don't know what yet, of course. Like my main goal with this is to provide value. So I don't want to like just for the sake of earning money, fence off a lot of the features, but that is the ultimate goal, is to make some money with some of these online businesses, because currently I'm not doing that. This thing is just out there and it's free to use. But that's what I've been doing this last week. I've been sort of picking that project up again. I've been doing a lot of upgrading, because like a lot of these like packages that you're using when you build a website like this, they just get outdated. So it's been a lot of like upgrading and stuff, and it's been a bit of a pain in the butt. But I think it's a good thing, because first of all, it's more secure, meaning that it's less likely to be attacked by anyone. So that's a good thing, I think. And secondly, I do plan to keep working on it, and of course, it's the best way to work on it is to have it up to date. So that's basically been my past week so far. I'm very excited to share more about this application and just the things that I'll learn on the way. Next week there won't be a podcast, because I'll be going to Vietnam with my girlfriend. It'll be Thursday until Monday. We'll be on the road, so I'm gonna leave all of my podcast equipment right at home. I'm gonna bring the camera, so I'm gonna make a vlog that's going to be watchable on TravelingTice channel. And really looking forward to that. And then in December, I plan to launch Tice's Tech Track, basically. I plan to create the channel and launch these podcasts finally. So that's going to be very exciting. I really look forward to that, of course, to finally sort of share this with you all. And of course, I plan to continue building on this application. Like, the next big step that I need to do is basically marketing this app. How much I dread it. Or I don't know if I dread it, I just haven't done it. Like, I don't have any experience in real marketing, And I did read a lot of books about it. Even like this past year, I read all the books from Russell Brunson, who is like this marketing guru. And he wrote this book called Traffic Secrets, which is amazing. Like, it's by far one of the best things I've read. In terms of like how to make your product successful. So I really look forward to digging into that and stuff. So I'm excited to share it with you here. So it feels good. I like this little place that I'm sort of creating, this sort of outlet, as you can say, of all the things that I'll be experiencing with regards to my career and my business. So thank you for listening to this podcast. Thank you for watching, if you are watching this. And I will see you in the next one. See you later. Bye-bye.